Number of pretty strict requirements, do's and do nots on your engagement contracts with your clients. And if you're working with a law firm, I wouldn't trust those lawyers to do it the right way. You want to get in there and make sure that this follows the new rule. For example, you got to be super clear on the fees, the rates. Can't do a contingent fee. I put in this language here, you can't say, or you have to say in 12-point bold-face type that LPPs are not attorneys and they're limited in certain degrees. You can read all that there yourself, but kind of just some very strictly required disclaimers and warranties and whatnot you have to get in your contract there. And there's more if you go read the rest of the rule, but those were kind of the high points that I don't think anybody wants to miss out on when you're talking to new clients. All right.
Are there going to be set fees that we have to abide by, like the way we charge things? Is there a limit that we can charge?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yes, if there's set fees.
Paralegal
No.
fee that we can set our own fees?
That's one of the things I'm interested in is, because I kind of have a business background, I used to own my own company, and so the reason I think this is kind of exciting, I mean, it's a market approach to bring additional access to justice. So Utah has amazing pro bono services. I mean, I don't know, if you work in a firm, you probably have a group that manages the firm's pro bono work, but it's not enough to help. So the fact that it's a market approach, that we're creating a new profession, is the reason it might work, in my opinion. But I am in touch with people in Washington. So the Washington Bar Administrator and the Washington Limited, they have a different title, but they're limited licensed practitioners. And just talking to them, because now they've been doing it for a few years, and what is it that you think you're charging, and how many of you are grouped together, how many of you are part of law firms? And so I'm continually gathering that information that will hopefully be put into a format that will help new LPPs launch their business.
So I might check with the Arizona, they also have a similar program. So Arizona Certified Legal Document.
Yeah, that's a document preparer thing. That's a little bit different. Yeah, a lot of states are in the process of doing something like this. And a lot of states that are doing it are starting to change their format to follow how we're doing it. It took Washington 12 years to get their program in place. So at our first steering committee meeting, Justice Hamona said, okay, people, 2 years, we're getting this done in 2 years. And we're almost at 3 now, but I mean, all of that work is done. We had to draft rules, we had to come up with curriculum, we had to come up with all of the requirements and changing. It's not only the new set of rules, it's the existing rules that stand wherever they say a lawyer. Yeah, we had to determine, okay, do we have to say lawyer or LPP here, or does it just stay lawyer? I mean, it's been a lot of work, but, and the broad kind of way we're describing it, meaning you can do anything reasonably, you can advise on anything reasonably related to the form, is making it so that LPPs will really be able to provide a good service, and that's what other states are starting to follow, kind of our process. So, yes.
So will LPPs be allowed to be supervising for a paralegal?
Yes. LPPs can hire paralegals, and going forward, once there are LPPs, that's one way you can get experience, is under the supervision of a lawyer or an LPP. I mentioned that earlier. So now we're going to go through a few scenarios in the family law realm to kind of explain in a practical way what it means, what the paralegal practitioner can and can't do. So in the first scenario,
Go for it.
So I'm a client, I'm going to see Mr. LPP.
Hello. How are you doing today,
I'm
client?
really terrible.
Oh, I'm very sorry to hear that. Well, my name's Jim. I'm going to be your LPP today. Please have a seat and tell me what's going on in your life that brings you here.
So my husband and I have been married like 9.5 years, and I just found out he's having an affair with my best friend.
That is awful. I'm very sorry.
When I confronted him with text messages I found between him and his girlfriend that used to be my best friend, he went into a rage and screamed at me. I threatened to call the police, and he grabbed my arm, grabbed my phone, and threw it on the floor right in front of my little kids.
Disgraceful.
I put my foot down and pushed him out the door and locked the door. The next day I had all of the locks changed. So now that I've kicked him out of the house, I can't afford to pay the mortgage on my own. He's always made more money than me. We agreed when the kids were born that I would stay home, and so we didn't have to pay for childcare, and I've been working part-time. It's not enough, and he won't give me any money. And so now my mortgage payment's going to be late. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. He sent me some really mean emails saying that he's entitled to move back into the house and that he gets the kids half of the overnights. And I do not think that's in their best interests, the way he's acting. He keeps saying that there's some law that says I'm required to do a nesting agreement. All I know is I want this divorce over as fast as possible, so anything to get this finalized in the next 60 days would be amazing, even if that means I have to settle for normally what I would be entitled to. What should I do?
I'm so glad you came here. As an LPP, I can definitely help you with all these things. So sit down, relax, have a soda pop. Let's go through it here. So as an LPP, I can interview this nice person. I can ask questions and follow-up questions and can get deeper into the details. I can also give legal advice, telling her some good ideas, what to do next. And it's supposed to be grounded in the forms. Let's talk about the forms. Petition for divorce. Naturally, we're going to divorce this guy. He's being a jerk. There's a form for a summons. I can put that together for you also. We're going to do that. That's going to start your divorce. There's a form for motions for temporary orders. That's how you get temporary custody of your kids, temporary possession of your house, temporary alimony, temporary child support.
So that means I can get money for my mortgage?
You sure
Do that?
can. Yes. I help ladies get money from their ex-husbands. It's a good public service. Oh, and all that stuff about the nesting arrangement. Because we're going to be talking about custody in the complaint for divorce and in the motion for temporary orders, I can give you the advice that nesting arrangements are not only not required, they're horrible ideas. So you don't have to worry about that. Yeah. Your instincts are correct. And I'll go through all the other forms. The notice of hearing that goes with the motion for temporary orders. The notice of financial disclosure requirements, where we tell your husband all the stuff that he has to give us, like his tax returns, his bank records, all that stuff. Because the forms talk about custody, we can discuss pros and cons of asking for sole custody, joint custody, all that stuff. We can fill out the form for a parenting plan. Because what you described to me obviously was domestic violence. Sometimes people don't know what counts, but obviously messing with someone's phone, I shouldn't say obviously, messing with someone's phone like that is domestic violence. It's good for me to tell you your rights, that you can go get a domestic violence protective order if you want to. You don't have to. As an LPP, I would also, or as a lawyer, I also tell people you can get it for free. You don't need to pay a lawyer or an LPP to get a domestic violence protective order. Now, one of the things you want to do when you're giving legal advice is you got to always look at the big picture. She told me lightning fast. I want this over lightning fast. Every single one of my clients always says the same thing. No one comes in my office and says, I'd like this divorce to be 4 years.
Minimum 18 months.
Please. In this situation where the woman comes in and she's been very clear that she was always the lesser earning spouse and they've been married 9.5 years, does anyone know why they should not divorce within the next 60 days?
You can't get alimony until you're married 10 years.
Close. That's close. You're in the ballpark. I've had judges say to me, until you've been married 10 years, why should I do permanent alimony? You can always get temporary alimony, and frankly, in this day and age, that was kind of more old-fashioned thinking. I think even if you're married 8 years, you'll get permanent alimony, or maybe even less. But here, that's like in the gray zone. If you're married 9.5 years, you could probably get alimony. But here's the one that's not in the gray zone. Black and white, strict as heck. If you get divorced before the 10-year mark, you don't get any of their Social Security benefits.
Oh.
That's just a hard and fast federal regulation. If you've been married 9 years and 354 days, you don't get any, not one penny. If you're married 2 more days, you get, it's a weird, I'm not gonna say half, it's a weird calculation how they do it, because you each get like half of each other's Social Security benefits that were accrued during the marriage, but there's even more variables. Like when I've had to fight over this, I've had to hire experts who used to work at SSA to help me figure it out, because it's so weird, but there you go, there's a little piece, a little
Okay, I
tidbit.
changed my mind. I want to get divorced in 6 months.
Very good, I can help you with that, plenty of time, and that's still pretty.
Is that when the decree is signed or when they file?
When the decree is signed. So we can start the divorce right now, but we're not gonna do it in 60 days. Any questions on that one before we, we have these nice little
That's
lists.
okay. We'll provide these after. We'll provide these after,
Mm-hmm,
I think.
you betcha. All right, I don't know, oh, this way we're gonna show the website. This is where, these websites, they're pretty great. I mean, for a government website, this website's fantastic. I mean, it has lots of, I use this website all the time. I didn't pay for this. My taxes, I guess.
I have a question. So when you tell her that she can get a domestic violence protective order, since that's a form, can we fill out the form for her and have her take it down there to the courthouse?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
something that you can do, but he's just offering that you can also get it for free if you just go down there. You won't have to, because
Right,
if I do it, you'll pay me whatever I tell you will cost to do that form.
right, but it is going to be something that an LPP
Yes.
would be able to do.
Yes.
Yeah, the form's there right now. Anybody, you can fill out your own domestic.
And that's gonna be one way you can get family law experience is by going down to
The court and
to
the
legal aid,
services
legal
thing.
services, and volunteer to help people fill out these forms.
Yeah, and lawyers don't want to touch it.
Yeah.
They don't want to.
I touch it. But I feel bad though building clients. I'm like, but you could go do this on your own, or you can.
This is one thing that you don't really need me for if you don't want, yeah.
But some people want their hand handled.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They don't have the courage. They don't think they have the courage to do it on
Well, but legal aid will do it for you though. I mean, it's still someone doing it for you. It's just a freebie who does it day in, day out, every day, so knows it really well. Or me, who does it every once in a while and charge you for it. So I kind of get a kick out of it. It's like that. They're interesting.
Okay.
Alrighty, let's see here. Let's see. Oh, the next one. This is me. I'm the client. Here we go.
Oh.
Prenup time. My wife, she's filed for divorce against me. We don't got any kids. We have a prenup, and she doesn't have a lawyer, and she doesn't have an LPP, so it should be pretty simple and straightforward. First, Miss LPP, can you please read my prenuptial agreement? I wrote it myself, and I am enormously proud of it. It says right here that I don't have to pay her any alimony, so I don't understand why she's suing me for alimony. Is she gonna get alimony?
Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna kind of cite 2 rules as I go through this, but you probably wouldn't cite 2 rules to your client. I mean, you could just say the rules. Rule 14802 allows an LPP to explain a court order that affects the client's rights and obligations. So, and authorizes me to obtain and explain and file any document needed to support the form. So to answer your question, I'm happy to review your awesome prenup agreement and explain to you what that means to you and your rights now.
Excellent, thank you. So a constable served me with the divorce petition and the summons. This guy, he tracked me down. He found me 20 days ago. And I only just realized that I gotta respond by tomorrow. Tomorrow's my deadline, 21 days. I am too busy with my job and work. There's no way I can get that done by tomorrow. So hey, would you please call up my ex, you know, throw around the word LPP, intimidate her a little, and get her to back off and get us some more time.
Okay, first of all, I can communicate with your ex, and if they have representation, your ex's representation. But the rules of professional conduct don't allow me to intimidate anyone, but I'd be happy to ask for an extension. Otherwise, I will drop everything that I have to do today, and because it's really important that we meet the deadline. So I'll work with you to get it done. If there's something that we forget or slips through the cracks because we're doing it so quickly today, then we could amend later if necessary, but let's do what we can to meet that deadline.
That sounds like really good advice. I'm glad I came here. All right, here's my next question for you. So my wife, she's being awful. She's posting all this really awful garbage about me online, on the Twitter, total lies and BS, and it's really making me mad. I want to sue her for defamation. Can you help me with that?
Unfortunately, I can't help you with that because that's a tort claim, and that doesn't fall within the scope of what I can do for you in family law. But I have this great lawyer named Jim Hunnicutt, and I'll refer you to him, and you can talk to him about whether that's prudent to do.
Thank you. I certainly will call him. All right, now I already started writing up the answer to the petition for divorce. Can I just, you know, it's like halfway done. Can you help me finish it? And then can you be the one who files it for me, or do I gotta file it?
I can definitely help you finish the answer. I can also file it. When you leave here today, I'll appear in your case, so I'll have access to the court filings in your matter. But also remember that your ex will need to be served a copy of that too, and I can take care of that for you also.
Thank you so much. I feel very safe in your hands.
Okay.
Quick question, sorry. Back on that defamation claim, could that fall under the mutual restraining orders provisions in the divorce court, or is it considered a tort?
That's a great question. So they're like related things, but separate. So the idea is, like in a typical divorce, we put them in there all the time where we say both parties are hereby restrained from, you know, bad-mouthing each other around the kids or being uncivil or profane with each other. That's great. That's inside of the divorce action. Suing someone for defamation means I want money.
And it's happened, like they believe the defamation has happened separate from that, and they want to do something about it, file a claim for it.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Like inside the divorce, the judge isn't going to give you money as like a reward because your ex said mean things about you. But in a defamation claim, if you can show that that like harms your career or that you damages you, that's possible. Great question.
Okay,
Do it.
all right. Hi, Mr. LPP.
Hello. Nice
It's
to see you,
It's
client.
nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you.
So I started a divorce against my wife about a year ago. And over the last 12 months, I swear we could put our kids through college with how much money we've spent. I had dinner with my wife last night, and we reached a partial settlement on a few things. The main issue is custody. So 12 months ago, we couldn't see eye to eye on anything, but now we can actually talk. I think we're both motivated now to kind of get this done. The main issue is custody. We worked out a unique schedule that gives me, on an average, 160 overnights per year with the kids. Part of our agreement is also that we're both going to stop using our divorce lawyers and instead try LPPs. This whole paralegal practitioner thing sounds like a great idea, and we hope that it will save us some money and give us a little bit of control. Now turning to financial issues, speaking of money, I started my own business during the marriage, and it turns out I'm a pretty good businesswoman. And I put a lot into it, and now the business is doing extremely well. And my wife and I are not seeing eye to eye on how to divide that. So I contributed way more. I contributed everything to the company. And I don't think she should get half of the value of the company plus alimony. I think it needs to be fair. So I hired an expert witness, and we're still waiting for them to finish up the valuation of the business. And then my wife, I guess, will do a rebuttal report and we'll figure out how far apart we are. So I just have a few questions. First, can I explain to you what we talked about over dinner? And I'll give you, go through my notes about what we think we can agree on. And can you write up that settlement agreement for us, or for me?
I'm glad you asked. Absolutely. Under the rules of the LPP's 802 C1C, that's exactly part of one of the things that we do is we interview you, gather information, write it down, and make settlement agreements. And that's a form that we have right here, is the stipulation, so I absolutely can do that for you. Continue on.
Awesome. So one thing that we didn't talk about this last night, and I was just going through our temporary orders that have been in place for a while, and paragraph 19 tells me that it talks about a right of first refusal. So I can't really remember what that refers to, and the temporary order doesn't explain it, it just says it. So what does that mean? Can you help me with that part? And does it need to be included in the settlement agreement?
Great question. So as an LPP, I can read court orders and interpret them for you. So yes, I'm happy to read paragraph 19. Let's see here. What this says is the right of first refusal, and you're right, a lot of times these temporary orders don't really explain what that magic phrase means. I'll just explain it. What it means is that if one parent is supposed to have the kids, but they gotta go to work, or they gotta do something else, you have to call your ex first before you call a babysitter.
Okay, yeah, I remember that now, okay.
And so if you want to leave it in there, we just leave it in there. The stipulation I'm going to write up from your dinner last night, I can leave that in there. Or if you would prefer, we can see if your ex wants to take that out.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, and then I have two more questions. I'll kind of group them together. I mentioned that I'm waiting for an expert report. Can you call my expert and see if they need more information and tell them to hurry it up and see when they can get the valuation done? And if you can make it so that I don't have to give her any extra alimony, how about I give you 10% of what the expert says my company's worth?
Intriguing.
Little bonus.
Let's jump to that one first, because that's a no-no. I appreciate the offer. But no contingent fee arrangements are allowed, I'm afraid to say. But that's okay. We'll take care of this regardless, and we'll do our best for you on that alimony issue. But contingent fees are right out the door. And then going to your other question, can I talk to your expert witness? Yes, I can. Rule 802 C1K says we can communicate with the other party or the other party's representative and others regarding matters reasonably related to the forms. So yes, I can follow up and poke your expert witness and get this thing moving.
Great. Okay, so we are at 1 o'clock. We have one more scenario to go through. Do you want us to do that, or do you want to ask questions? What's the consensus? What? Scenario? The last scenario?
I got one question. You know how you just said, yes, I can talk to expert witness, I can call your expert witness, I can talk with the other party. And did you say the other party's attorney? I thought when somebody's represented by attorney, you can only communicate with that attorney. You can't call the husband, say, can you, or?
No, you're right.
No,
You're right.
if they're represented, so it's or, you can talk to them,
Okay.
yeah.
Or?
That's a good question.
Yes.
I have to dodge out, so I have another question about the requirements. The 1,500 hours can be in any substantive field, correct?
Yes.
It's only 500 hours particular to, so you could actually, like I've been a paralegal for 4 years. I have definitely more than 1,500 hours of substantive law experience in the last 3 years. And so that requirement is met. My requirements have to be focused on family law, landlord, tenant, and debt collection, correct? That's what I needed to get straightened out, and then I was using no.
Okay. Okay, we'll go ahead into this last scenario.
Blaze right through it. All right, I'm the client this time. I'll kick it quickly here. I went through a really nasty divorce with my wife 5 years ago. And now she's gone and filed paperwork all over again. She's filed something called a petition to modify, asking to change custody and alimony. For our original divorce, we both had lawyers and we spent way too much money on legal fees, and we want to avoid that. She's now representing herself, and I thought I would try using an LPP, because I got legal questions for you. Under our divorce settlement agreement, I have primary custody of our 2 children. My ex gets them 2 overnights every week. My ex travels for work, and I only work part-time so I can take care of the kids. She pays me child support, plus $500 per month for alimony. She's now asking the court to increase her parent time to 50-50 and to terminate alimony. One other thing, I was supposed to do something called a quadro to get half of her 401k, whatever that means, but I never got around to it, so I want to get that done too. What can you do for? Oh, I have more. My last lawyer moved to Arizona, and I forgot to pick up the file right before he moved, so I don't have copies of anything. Are you able to obtain copies of the court filings? That would be a huge help.
Yes, absolutely. I can appear on your behalf. I have an Exchange account. I can download anything you're missing from your file and send it to you electronically or print you a hard copy.
Fantastic, thank you. Now regarding this petition to modify, I don't know whether I should just answer it and counterclaim, or if I should do a motion to dismiss and just make it go away. What do you think?
So Rule 14802C1E authorizes me to counsel and advise you in determining what form to use and how to complete the form. So I can help you with the pros and cons of that. If there is a court-approved form for the motion to dismiss, I would be able to help you with that too. The reason I say if is because there's not one right now, but they might be one in the future.
So that's one of those nice
Yes.
places where you can say, I can do the answer, or if you want to do a motion to dismiss, the
Call
lawyer
Jim.
right down the hall. That's right, thank you. All right, so if I do the answer, and if I do a counter, oh yeah, can I do a counterclaim? And if I do a counterclaim, can I make alimony go up? And can I make her parent time go down? And can I get that quadro thing?
So yes, I can certainly help with the answer and advise you about parent time and alimony. However, the quadro work will need to be referred to a lawyer. There's not a form associated with that, and it's based on complex tax law, but I have a guy for you. Jim Hunnicutt hates doing quadro stuff, but we know another guy I'll send you to.
Excellent, yeah. In her papers, my ex says she wants a custody evaluation. What does that mean? Will I have to pay for it? What do I have to do to prepare?
So Rule 14802C1H also authorizes me to review documents with you, review documents for you, review documents of another party, and explain them to you, so we can get this done together. Fantastic. Now get out of my office. Okay, any more questions?
Is there a list of the forms, or do you just go through the website?
It'll just be on the website. And once the forms are done, they're going to have something in the footer that tells you it's an LPP court-approved form.
So if you don't know that there wasn't a quadro, you say, oh, that means look and see.
Yes, exactly.
If working with a law firm, are LPPs still required to only use the court-approved forms, or would they be able to use the law firm, if they're employed with the law firm? Would they be able to use the law firm forms at that point?
That's a great question. No, you'd have to use the court-approved forms.
Okay.
And you know, a lot of people, you download that form into Word, and that doesn't mean you can't change the formatting of it and stuff, but you just use the court-approved
The
form.
language needs to be specific.
Yes.
Oh, who can put
other language that's not in there?
Well, there's big blanks.
Well, you'll draft so like there'll be a form, let's say there's number 1 through 10. You help the client by answering
So it
the
may
question,
not-
yes, yeah,
So if I had
exactly.
a motion for temporary orders, there was, if you were asking something that wasn't on the form, you could
If you were asking for something?
yeah, like, for a motion for temporary orders, usually you say, I want child support, I want custody, I want make it different. If there's something that's not on the form, you can add.
Yeah, and there might be something that says other or whatever.
Yeah, almost all these forms
Yeah.
have huge blank areas where you can just put stuff in
Yeah.
and see how it shakes out. You got a question?
I have a question regarding malpractice insurance. They're not required to carry malpractice insurance.
It's not, lawyers aren't required,
That's true.
so LPPs are not either.
Do you guys have any idea how that handles in firm settings, malpractice coverage?
Well, I've heard that there's a couple of carriers who are gonna start writing policies at the,
They already have, yeah. It's the same company that did it in Washington, and it's what the bar works with them, and so they have kind of a different risk pattern, and so the insurance is different. But yeah, if you're gonna practice on your own or be part of a firm, so lawyers aren't required to have it, but firms require it. So yeah, if your firm requires it, it will be available to you.
You advise that you get it though?
I do. I'm glad I have malpractice coverage, and you will too.
So, as far as like the upkeep of your LPP, is there, like ACP, can I have to have so many CLEs?
Yep.
For 5 years?
Yep.
Is there like that kind of requirement?
It'll be reporting similar to what lawyers do, so you report every 2 years. And I think it's 12 hours a year, so 24 hours, and maybe 3 have to be ethics. But yes, they're going to be required CLE. And
Can it be any topic, just like now, like lawyers, even though you're like a family law attorney, you probably should be.
we were discussing this at a steering committee meeting, and there will be specific CLEs put together for LPP issues. But generally, if you go to the family law section, CLE, that's going to count for your family law.
Will the fees be reduced for LPPs?
Fees reduced.
For CLE credits?
I'm not sure what the fee structure is for the CLE credits. I mean, I know on CLE that the bar currently offers, a few years ago, they started doing a reduced rate for paralegals. So they might do another tier rate, I don't know.
Thank you.
But the registration fees, like your registration fee, isn't gonna be as high as a lawyer's registration.
Before too many more folks leave, I'm curious to know how many people want to do family law and how many people already have their educational requirements. Because that seems to me like a heavy burden to get my certified paralegal. I've been practicing for 20 years. Does anybody else have their certified paralegal, or is it? I'm just curious.
So Patty teaches a class locally here, and so the